Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us. My name is Seamus Hames. I'm the Arts Education Grants Program Manager for Rhode Island State Council of the Arts, and I'm happy to be here today to walk you through the Project Grants and Education application for our April 2024 deadline. Just going to walk you right through. We're going to read the slides, and that's pretty much about it right now. Pretty simple. Just a few announcements at the beginning. On right now. So there should be closed captions. Here we go. Thank you very much. And please stay muted. And if you have any questions, you can type them in the chat. We are recording this, so if you don't want to appear in a little sidebar there, maybe with your video image, you can feel free to turn the video off. And as I was saying, hold your questions to the end. We can pause the recording and put them in the chat, and we'll answer them at the end of the presentation. And there will be a follow-up email with the links and the other helpful information for you as well. So this workshop is going to focus on the Project Grants in Education, or PGE program. And we will not be discussing other grant programs. So if you want to learn more about RISCA grant programs broadly and grant writing in general, attend one of our grant information sessions. We're usually all present for those, and we can answer your questions there as a group. Eligibility for the April 1st, 2024 deadline. The program eligibility is outlined in the guidelines for this program. It will be reviewed in this presentation. And if you want to leave now, it's okay. You can sign off. We will be offended. We did hit record, so we're gonna go ahead and skip that, but it is recording right now, just so you know. So here we go again to the Project Grants in Education application walkthrough. We're going to introduce the program here, go over eligibility, funding rules and restrictions. We're also going to want to look at how to start your application, evaluation criteria and definitions, and do an application walkthrough as well. So we're going to look at the application as if we are applying for it. And we're going to share resources for more help as well at the very end, in case you need it. So introducing the program. The Project Grants in Education provides project-specific support to schools, nonprofit organizations, art educators, and teaching artists to engage students in meaningful artistic experiences in dedicated learning environments. PGE projects must be experiential and focus on the exploration of art and the artistic process. PGE strives to build the capacity of local teaching artists and nonprofit organizations while providing students with high-quality artistic learning experiences. The award amount. Maximum award is $3,000 to individuals or $10,000 to schools or organizations. The deadline is April 1st, 2024 for activities occurring within the dates of July 1st, 2024 to June 30th, 2025. Who can apply? Pre-K through 12 schools based in Rhode Island, which means public charter, private, alternative, special education schools, and career and technical centers, as well as nonprofit or fiscally sponsored organizations based in the state of Rhode Island, or teaching artists or art educators in partnership with a Rhode Island-based school. So those are the three general entities who are going to apply for this grant. Now, just to go over the program priorities with you, as encouraged by the National Endowment for the Arts and the RISCA Strategic Plan for 2020. Our priorities are pre-K through 12 in-school projects, projects that authentically match students and school populations with teaching artists from shared cultural backgrounds and experiences, or projects that center learners of varying abilities in non-traditional academic programs of Africana, Latina, Asian, and Native American diasporas, ALANs, or of economically disadvantaged status as defined by the Rhode Island Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. Match requirements for organizations. Any match over $3,000 amount over $3,000 must be matched. No match is required if you are requesting $3,000 or less. If you're applying as a program in a pilot year, so it's your first year running this program, or if you're applying as a school or nonprofit organization, which meets free or reduced price lunch or state identified criteria. Now, just a word on the free or reduced price lunch, FRPL, or state identified need criteria. Schools or nonprofit organizations must serve students who primarily attend schools with 40% or more students eligible for free or reduced price lunch, or attend schools that have been identified by the state as being in need of support and intervention as determined by a 1 or 2 star rating on the RIDE school report card, or a district under state control at the time of application. If you're not sure if your school meets these requirements, we have some helpful links in the guidelines where you can follow this up with. And just a reminder that if you are an individual applying for this, no match required, but you are only allowed to apply for a maximum amount of $3,000. An example would be a media artist. So an individual artist, teaching artist in the community, doing a stop motion animation as an after school program. They're allowed to apply for $3,000 max, and they're not required to provide the matching funds. If a school was to do the stop motion animation as an after school program, if the school was the applicant in its pilot year, it can apply for up to $10,000. And because it's a pilot, there again is no match required in that situation. Third example is if a school is doing a stop motion animation as an after school program, but it's now in its second year, that school is again allowed to apply for up to $10,000, but because it's no longer a pilot program, a match would be required for any amount over $3,000. Eligibility. So some of the project requirements here. The project must include a drafted lesson plan with clearly stated goals, intended outcomes, and means for evaluation. The projects must contain a minimum of 8 contact hours with the same teaching artists and distinct group of learners. These contact sessions must occur on separate days, so it can't just be one 8-hour session. Projects must consist of in-depth sequential and participatory learning opportunities incorporating one or more art forms. Further project requirements in pre-K through 12 in-school projects, applicants must be a school district, school or district, or an individual with a partner school letter of support. So if you're a teaching artist wanting to, for instance, do the stop motion animation program in the school has to provide you with a letter of support. For community-based learning projects, these are projects that must occur in a dedicated learning environment with a distinct group of learners of any age, and these are for nonprofit organizations. They must be the applicant for these. Individual artists, teaching artists, may not be the applicant for community-based learning projects. They've got to collaborate with the school. This is just reiterating what I just said. Individual applicants with pre-K through 12 in-school projects need a letter of commitment of support from the partnering school. And this must detail the partnering school support of the project and outline the anticipated roles and responsibilities of all partners. And individual applicants must be at least 18 years of age to apply for a grant from RISCA. You're ineligible if you are a staff member of RISCA or an immediate family member of a staff or council member. You're currently enrolled in an arts degree seeking undergraduate or graduate programs or attending high school full-time. Receiving general operating support for organizations or general operating support for artist funding from RISCA in the same fiscal year. If you're applying for support for this project or aspects of this project through another RISCA grant program, or if you are delinquent on any final reports for previous RSCA grants. Pause it for questions. We'll move on. So funding rules and restrictions. All grant awards are contingent upon the availability of funds from the Rhode Island General Assembly and the National Endowment for the Arts, NEA. The maximum grant award in this category is $10,000, but partial awards are common, just so you are aware. Grant applications are considered on a competitive basis. Grant award amounts may vary in amount cycle to cycle depending on available funds that we have, the number of applications, and the panel decision making. Just so you're aware, if you do receive a partial award, say if you apply for 3,000 and you receive 1,500, you won't be expected to accomplish the project as initially outlined. You may reach out to the Arts and Education Director to discuss the project modifications at any time. We are interested in seeing you continue the project if possible, but we understand if that's not. So therefore, you also have the option of declining the grant award with no penalties. One very important thing to remember, if you do receive a grant, you must credit RSCA on all marketing materials. We really need to see an acknowledgement of RSCA's involvement in funds. They are taxpayer dollars, so we need to be transparent and open in the public about not allowable expenses. Grant funding cannot be used for the following: capital projects, including the construction or renovation of buildings or addition to buildings; development efforts such as social events or benefits, or any fundraising expenses; addressing, eliminating, or reducing existing debt, or for contributions to an endowment fund; the purchasing of alcohol, food, or beverage; prizes and awards for an event, person, and or organization; re-granting, so you can't receive the grant and then offer your own grant program to give it away; activities that are associated with an undergraduate or graduate degree program for which academic credit is received; applications for projects that proselytize or promote religious activities or which take place as part of a religious service; programming, performances, and exhibitions unavailable and or inaccessible to the public; expenses incurred or activity happening outside of the award period. So that's very important. Your activities have to happen within that fiscal year that was outlined. Questions so far? No questions? We're going to move on. Starting your application, things to gather. I'm going to go over that when we look at the application itself. So I'm just going to quickly skip that part and just head right to the evaluation criteria and definitions. So when the panel is looking at your project and evaluating what to award it, they are tasked with looking at these 4 areas: project fit, 25%. Project's goals and activities clearly fit the project grants and education description. So it's got to fit what we are asking it to fit. Outcomes, 25%. The expected outcomes or results of the project are clearly stated and correlated with the project's goals. Project implementation evaluation. The applicant has a clear definition of success and specific metrics to measure success. Partnerships and collaborations, that's the last 25%. The applicant is working with in coordination and or collaborating on the project with specific organizations or artists to serve a distinct group of learners. So we want to see your collaboration, and we want to know about your distinct group of learners here. And artistic merit. This used to be a standalone category, but now we ask the panelists to look at this within all 4 criteria. We ask for high quality standards-based arts learning and cultural competencies present in all of those criteria rubric. questions? I'm not seeing any, so we'll just keep going here. All right, let's walk through the application itself, see what it looks like. So I'm going to go to the RISC page. Once you land on the RISC page here, this is what the main landing page looks like. I am here under grants, the education grants are rather, our grants. I'm going to scroll down a little bit here. Organizations and artist educators. So project grants and education is right here. Again, this gives an overview. Who can apply, the deadlines, as well as our guidelines. You can download a PDF of the application itself just to visually have it. You need to notate it or write on it or something like that. The budget template here, which is in an Excel format, and the evaluation rubric again, in case you need to refresh your memory there. Click on this to proceed to the online application, and we look. Here we just log on here. And do a little proxy walkthrough here. So logged in. Here, if you wanted to scroll down, the PGE grant, Project Grants and Education, is listed second here. Again, here are some of the descriptions, some of the basic info, and information here, and then you just hit apply in this top right corner. Takes you right to the application itself. Top here, you see this is the organization or the contact info for the applicant, which you have filled in with, which you have created once you've created your profile. Down here in the application itself, here's a little checklist just to remind you of the structure, give you of the application itself. Again, the guidelines, form, and templates, all available here down for you to download and refer to if you need. Here we have an eligibility quiz, which is the beginning of the application. In this application, there are 5 questions. You need to answer them correctly to be able to proceed. This is going to very quickly tell you whether you're eligible for this grant or not. Down here we have a lead project profile. This person should be not a point of contact, but we also want this person to be involved in the project itself. And this section here, project overview, you're going to give a project name and a 2 to 3 sentence summary of what the project is. What is the amount you're requesting, and whether it will take place at your location or at somewhere else. Here, the project narrative is the more substantial area where you're going to fill in exactly what you're going to do. We want here, our panelists are looking for the program priorities and the requirements. So here, you're going to clearly state the project description. What's the arts learning project? What will be done? When and where? Who are the distinct group of learners? What are the expected outcomes of this project? Any artists or culture organizations that are involved, you're going to list them here. What are the practices of the teaching artists, and how does that align authentically with the distinct group of learners that you're engaging? Any additional project partnerships that you want to list that are helpful for us to know? Here, you're going to want to state what your detailed arts learning plan is. There's a link here to National Arts Anchor Standards. It's important to kind of review them and to lay out a lesson plan that best fits those standards. Here, you're going to want to describe your evidence of the art's impact. What's your definition of a successful project? Is there some sort of capstone or culminating experience? So is this a theater project where that will culminate in a performance or a play? Or perhaps a presentation of the student work in the form of an art show? What What specific arts learning metrics have you included in your detailed arts learning plan to measure and evaluate the success for the learners? So, what are the tools you're using to measure how successful the project is? If it's participation, if it's an improvement in um, the learning of a skill, we'd like to know those things. Here's where you include your supporting material as evidence. How about how this project will be impact for your community? That this could be a supporting document such as a past participant testimonial or a commitment for a new program for a student, community, teacher, or anything like that. Here we want to know when your project is going to begin and end, and like we were saying, it's got to for applications for this deadline in April. I mean, it can't start before July 1st of this year, and it has to occur before June 30th of next year. That's within our fiscal year. Here you enter your elected officials. There's instructions on how to do that. Here's more detailed supporting materials we would like to see. Fiscal sponsor letter, if applicable. If you're an organization applying and you don't have a nonprofit status, then we just ask that you team up with a fiscal sponsor that would be able to sponsor this grant. And we have more information within our grant description of that as well in the guidelines. Any documentation that we can see where that you do qualify for a match waiver for free or reduced price lunch. Schools should have the appropriate documentation for that if they're applying. Project budget. This must be in the Veriska PGE budget template, which is an Excel template. Most of the documents that we require are going to need to be in a Microsoft format or saved as a PDF. If we can have this project budget in this Excel format, that's highly preferential. We would really appreciate that much more. An example lesson plan. CVs or resumes of all artists involved. Again, a letter of support from a school if you are a teaching artist working with the school. Artistic work examples, so JPEGs or PDFs of, or maybe a YouTube video of a performance of the teaching artist you're working with. Optional upload section, so you can anything additional you'd like to provide us with. Here's the fiscal sponsor letter, match waiver place. Here's the project budget. So this is where you add all these supporting documents. At this bottom section here, this is data for federal and state reporting. So you can answer this to the best of your ability. As this says, it won't affect how your application is evaluated, but it's necessary for reporting on our applicants to the federal and state government. So fill this out as best as you can. We will be reviewing this for accuracy. If we find any issues, we can reach out, or if we're confident to kind of make this change. If we see something that we don't think is correct, we can do that too. But again, it's for our organizational kind of data collecting purposes. Here's your assurances, where you just check off that all this information is true to your knowledge, and the submit application. If you don't, if you're not ready to submit yet, you can save it and return to it, obviously, at any time. And when you submit it, just to make sure that you do before the deadline. We can't accept any late applications past the 11:59, the day before that deadline. So, and also, if you do submit your application prior to the deadline and say forgot to upload a bit of support material or need to make minor adjustments, you can contact us. So we can go in and make that adjustment for you as long as it is before the deadline. If it's past the deadline, the application is what it is, and we can't make any changes past that. Oh, for any more help, there are webinar recordings and other videos on YouTube you can look at. We have drop office hours on Zoom. You can find mine as well on the RISCA website. And we can set up one-on-one meetings. You can email me anytime, seamus.hames@artsri.gov, and we can discuss your project one-on-one. And then the thing is about it. I just want to thank you all for joining me. And again, please contact us if you have any other questions. And I just want to thank everyone in the group. Thank you, Todd. And good luck in your grant. And remember, the deadline is for this is April 1st. Thank you so much.